Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I'm going to be showing you why we need to take another look at Lurantis. Now, I've been saying Lurantis is good for a while. I did a video about Lurantis when it came out, and on my recent list of top 10 GXs, linked to those videos in the description, I put Lurantis up quite high. But Lurantis hasn't been seeing a huge amount of play or a huge amount of success in Pokemon tournaments. So I thought it was about time I explained to you in a bit of detail why that should, and I think is, about to change. Now, Lurantis is weak to Volcanion, bit of a pain, but we've got Tapu Bulu, more on him later. And the fact that you're a grass type means you hit for weakness on Lapras, which is fun. Here though, what we're primarily concerned about are the attacks, although 210 HP, not bad. For 1 grass energy, 40 damage, and you can attach 2 basic energy from your discard to your Pokemon in any way that you like. And this isn't just grass Pokemon, this is any kind of energy to any kind of Pokemon. Now you could, if you wish, accelerate water energy to an Araquanid and use that as a counter against Volcanion EX decks, but really I think that's a little bit clunky, and most of the time here we are going to be focusing on grass energy and grass Pokemon. Now the good news is here that 40 damage is good, but it gets so much better, and we're going to have a look in just a second. The second attack, 120 damage, heal 30 for free energy. 120, and I say this in a lot of my videos, this is standard at the moment. It means if you're hitting for weakness against something like a Lapras, you'll get a 1-hit KO. And if you're not hitting for weakness, let's say something like a Mega Rayquaza, you'll get a 2-hit KO. Healing 30 damage is pretty good, and certainly 120 for free energy is standard, so if you can heal 30 while you're at it, that's good. And I know it's all well and good saying, oh well, you can't use double colourless energy, free energy's quite a lot, and maybe that would be true in some decks, but with Flower Supply this really isn't an issue. And then of course we've got Chlorosive GX, 50 damage times the amount of energy attached to Lurantis. Now, at the time, and I've said this a few times since, the problem is 50 damage, you've generally got free energy on you for the second attack, which means you're hitting 150. Which means you need to add more energy in order to get up to the 180-200 range you need to KO EXs and GXs. But that's really what brings me to the point of the video here. The numbers for Lurantis are better. They are good nowadays, and there are 2 things that we've got. Firstly, we've got Choice Band that allows all of our attacks to do an extra 30 to EXs and GXs. And secondly, we've got the new promo Lapras, which has just been released, that means that all your fire and grass Pokemon do an extra 20 damage. And now if we re-look at those free attacks, it all starts looking an awful lot better. The first attack does 40 damage. Add a Choice Band, you're up to 70 damage. Add 1 Lurantis, and you're up to 90 damage. Now you can keep going, but let's just do the numbers for a minute with a single Lurantis. 90 damage is 2-hit KOing EXs. And that sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. It means that instead of doing 40 damage and getting a 5-hit KO on an Yveltal EX, you're now doing 90 damage and getting a 2-hit KO. And this makes a huge difference. It means you're easily 1-hit KOing evolving basics like Trubbish and Rowlet. Now, do bear in mind, of course, that evolving basics you can't use Choice Band because they're not EXs and GXs, but 1 Lurantis will do 60 to KO a Rowlet, 2 Lurantis will do 80 and KO a Trubbish. This is pretty good. It helps you hit the numbers much more easily. And I should remind you at this point, just a quick little ruling, because Lurantis and Lurantis GX are not the same name of Pokemon, it means that you can play up to 4 Lurantis and up to 4 Lurantis GX as well. So if you really wanted to play free of the promo and free of the GX, you absolutely could. Although do remember that they all evolve from Fomantis, and you can only play 4 Fomantis. So if you're playing more than 4 in combination of Lurantis and Lurantis GX, you're giving yourself more options, but you're not having a greater number of combined Lurantis in play, because 4 Fomantis is the maximum. If we take another look at the second attack, you're doing 120. Add a choice band, you're doing 150, 2 EXs or GXs. Add a single Lurantis promo, and now you're hitting for 170. Which means something like an Yveltal, for instance, will go down in a single hit for free energy to a Lurantis GX. And this is absolutely huge. You're no longer 2-hit KOing these big EXs, you are 1-hit KOing. And speaking of EXs, we used to have an issue with fighting Fury Belt here. Adding an extra 40 HP was very, very awkward. But also in Guardians Rising, we've now got the card Field Blower, which means we can get rid of those pesky fighting Fury Belts, bring their HP down, because they don't have it anymore, and then get the 1-hit KO. And just in case those two attacks didn't get better enough, we've now got the GX attack, which is really, really good now. I told you earlier that free energy meant 150, which wasn't enough, made the GX attack underwhelming. But now let's add a choice band to that, now we're up to 180. Now let's add a Lurantis there, and we're up to 200. 180 will KO an Yveltal, 200 will get something like an Espeon. So now all of these attacks are hitting numbers in a much, much better way than they were before. And don't forget that I'm giving you the numbers here, ladies and gentlemen, for a single Lurantis. You can play up to 3. In theory, you can play up to 4, but of course you need 1 GX of which to be attacking, and you need to evolve from a Fomantis, so really here you're playing free. Which means that actually the first attack with a choice band and free Lurantis would go up to 130. 40, 70 with a choice band plus 60 is 130. The second attack would actually go up to 210. 120, 150 with a choice band plus 60 is 210. And free energy on the GX attack would actually go up to 240 because you're hitting 150, 180 with choice band, add 60 is 240. And it's the numbers here, ladies and gentlemen, it's the numbers, and that's due to choice band and Lurantis. Although there is one other new card which really helps this deck be good, and it's Tapu Bulu GX, the tin for which has just been released. And Tapu Bulu has a lot of things going for it. A basic of 180 HP is very good, but what makes it even better is no weakness. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video about Volcanion and how that could potentially prove problematic for this deck. Well, Tapu Bulu can come in and tank a couple of hits. Now you get a Volcanion EX using Steam Up and they're still getting a 1-hit KO, but it means that they can't have the baby Volcanion, hey Nick, just with a couple of Steam Ups getting a nice easy KO while accelerating energy. And we've got good attacks here. 1 energy for 30 is alright, add a choice band is 60, 1 Lurantis is 80, and so on. The second attack is 120 for free energy like Lurantis, but it goes up like Lurantis goes up. So choice band is 150, 1 Lurantis is 170, etc. But we've actually got the advantage here that we can, if we wish, discard all the energy attached to Tapu Bulu, and you do 180. Which means 0 promo Lurantis on the field, just a choice band, you're hitting 210, that's enough to KO stage 1 GXs, EXs, etc, etc. And that's really nice here, because generally discarding the energy attached to Tapu Bulu would be really awkward and horrible. But if you can use Flower Supply from Lurantis GX, you can get the energy back and it's so much nicer. Although do remember that the retreat cost of 3 on Tapu Bulu would be awkward for this. And finally, the GX attack does 150 and completely heals Tapu Bulu, like a max potion while doing a whole bunch of damage and not discarding any energy. And again, 150 isn't great, but you add a choice band and it does 180, and you add 1 Lurantis, it does 200, etc. The numbers for Bulu work as well, and being able to get a 1-hit KO while healing, that's pretty good. And honestly here, I like Bulu's GX attack more than I like Lurantis's. Free energy, they both do 150, but Bulu completely heals here, although Lurantis does have the option of piling on more energy and doing ridiculous damage. Being able to cover your weakness with Bulu is really nice, and the fact that it also takes advantage of Choice Band and Promo Lurantis is good. So let's finish off having a quick look at a couple of popular matchups, and let's see why Lurantis could be good. Lapras has been popular lately, you're hitting for weakness, and Lapras likes playing Energy Denial, things like Crushing Hammer, Team Flare Grunt to get rid of your energy. But having a single energy attack to recover the energy is good. Lapras likes Lysander to pull stuff into the active, and that makes the promo Lapras a pain, because of the retreat cost of 2. But Lapras GX has a single energy attack which is good, so you shouldn't worry too much. Sylveon GX also likes Energy Denial, which we've said is not all that good here. And once again, they like playing Lysander, but the single energy attack is good. You might just have to lay off the promo Lurantis because the retreat cost of 2 is a little bit awkward. Volcanion is going to remain a rough matchup, but Tapu Bulu gives you a really nice hand here. And this was suggested by a listener, and I do apologise, I can't remember the name for the life of me, but if it was you, please pop it down in the comments, that you could just play Araquanid here, and a few water energy, and just play Lurantis with Araquanid. Bulu's going to help a lot, but at the end of the day, if Volcanion gets a good setup and gets a few steam ups off, that is going to be awkward, because if they can one-hit Bulu, you're in trouble. Decidueye Vileplume, you can take advantage of their Forest of Giant Plants, and the attack that heals you every turn is going to really help to mitigate those feather arrows, but as with everything with Decidueye Vileplume, they're blocking your item cards. If they get going fast enough, you're probably going to lose. But the big one at the moment is Garbodor. It's already seeing a lot of play. It dominated the special event in Milan this past weekend. And why is Lurantis good? Because Garbodor feasts on decks that play a lot of items. And you can get away here with a stage 1 with a single energy, which does not involve playing a huge amount of items. The second attack with no promo Lurantis and no choice band, because again you want to play as few items as possible, does 120, getting a one-hit KO on Garbodor while healing. But more than all of this, the techs that Garbodor play aren't going to do very much. Tauros, you kind of need to one-hit KO or it hits you back hard. Well, here you can just poke them for 40, and even their GX attack will only do 120. And then you do 120 with a choice band or a single Lurantis and get the KO. And like I've said, fighting Fury Bout isn't the issue it used to be due to Field Blower. And then of course Drampa gets rid of special energy, but that means nothing to you. You're playing all basic grass. I think Lurantis is very strongly positioned at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, and you can expect to see me playing a Lurantis deck at the next tournament I go to. I might have said that this looks like the best deck at the moment, and I don't say things like that emptily. When I say something might be the best deck, it's not a clickbait title. It's not a joke. If I describe something as possibly the best deck, it means I think it has a genuine chance to be the best deck. It doesn't mean I'm always going to be right, but it means it is a sincerely, honestly held opinion. Now you know the deal, there's a comment section, go nuts, be nice, tell me what you think about Lurantis, tell me whether you think it is positioned to do well. Make sure you've liked this video, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and make sure you follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. The most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching, my name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.